before we really go into the Netherlands visa process and all things, maybe you give us a little overview about the lifestyle in Netherlands.
Well, life in Netherlands is pretty good, and people are very nice, very helpful to talk to, and like speaking language is not something that you would have a problem with, because like everyone in Amsterdam speak English, so you would not really have a problem with the language.
Hi guys, I have Varun with me today. He got a job in Netherlands. He moved here a few months back, and today he is going to share his experiences about getting job, about settling in Netherlands, and he was also part of my academy. So, hi Varun, I'm so happy, so excited to have you on the channel. So, can you please introduce yourself very briefly?
Hi Sandeep, so I am glad to be here on your channel. My name is Varun, and I belong to Meerut, a town city in north of India. I have a bachelor's in computer science, and I have a work experience of 5 years in software engineering. And I moved to Netherlands like 2 months back, and currently I've been working in the mobile development in Amsterdam.
Yeah, that is so wonderful. You have introduced yourself. So, can you tell us at a very high level about your journey to move to Netherlands?
So I started to look out for jobs in Europe in 2019, and after that I was pretty much focused on jobs in Germany. But then after in 2021, I decided that I would look for other options, and then I started other countries. Like Netherlands was one of the first. I got calls from them. Sweden, I got calls from UK. So I had explored other options, and then luckily, like in Netherlands, I got some good offers, and my interview process went well, and then I received the offer. And as soon as I got an offer from Netherlands, then I started getting calls from Germany as well, and all the countries. So yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, you are right that okay. Initially, getting the first call is the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Once you know okay what is working for you, how is your profile, and then what kind of jobs you are applying, and then what is your job search strategy, and then you start repeating the same thing, and then you are on your way to success to get those calls. Okay. Yeah, I want to ask one follow up question here. So you are coming from a software background. If I remember that you said mobile developer, right? So still it is in very high demand, and it still took you so long. You struggled in 2020, right? So because I come across a lot of professionals, not just software developers, guys from accounting, guys from sales, guys from other backgrounds such as pharma, and they also say that okay, we are not from IT and it takes us time. So what's your opinion on that? Getting the call, getting the interviews, getting a job as a IT guy is like you have extra edge, or is do you also believe that okay, you are no different, or to some level you are different but not much different compared to non IT guys, non tech guys? So what's your take on that?
So what I would say is that the number of opportunities are too much, like in the IT field specifically, and companies are hiring. But at the same time, the competition is also pretty much there. So if you have those right set of skills and you are a right match, then yeah, then you would definitely get calls. But on the number of opportunities, yes, like there is no denying that on the IT jobs, especially in the software engineering, machine learning, like there are tons of opportunity in Europe. So,
Okay, so to understand correctly, so you mean that if you are from non-tech, non-IT, you can still get a job if you have the right set of skills.
yeah, yeah. And I know a lot of people in Netherlands who came, who do not belong to IT, and they still came. They were still sponsored, but like you need to have the right match for the skill. So
Yeah,
that is,
and it comes when you project yourself in a way, you develop that connection and then prove to the employer, okay, you are the right person,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
What I have seen in, like when I was interviewing here, is that they don't just look at you on your technical side of things. They want
yeah.
to evaluate you how you are as a person. And when I was interviewing, so a lot of times, even if you don't come at the right answer, but if you have gone through the right path you discussed with the interviewer, and you have some questions, right questions, so even that counts as a positive in your interview process. So discussing and talking out loud is very important in the interview.
Yeah. So At the end, yes, your approach matters. Definitely you cannot have the knowledge about the whole world, but how you approach all those problems and challenges when you are in a day-to-day work, then that matters.
Yep, yep.
Okay, so my next question would be, like you spend quite a lot of journey in your job search process. So
Yep.
how did you find those mistakes, and then how did you find the solutions for those mistakes?
Okay, so I think the first step is acknowledging the gaps where you need to improve. So when initially I interviewed, I was not following any feedback and I was not following any specific approach. But what I think that you need a plan and you need some steps for how you are going to work on your feedback. In my case, like I used to have a tech blog. I was already in the habit of posting every day, and it was curated to the interview preparations already. So I already has an incentive. So I was just working on my tech blog. It also helped me to become better in the interview process. But I decided to invest the time in the process because when we talk about job searches, so people usually focus on the two aspects. One is application and the other is like interview preparation. The third aspect they most of the time they forget is interviewing, and interviewing is itself a skill, and you can only get better the more you interview and with practice. Because
Yes.
a lot of the times in the tricky situations, in nervous situations, you tend to uh, go wrong in the interview, and with the practice and only with improving on your feedback, you can ace those interviews. So like it's not a twofold, it's a threefold process. And like
Yes.
like I mentioned about my tech blog, it is not a prerequisite like everyone should have it, but I used to write blogs, so it helped me. And if there is something that in case which works for you, it could be peer study, peer interviews, something like, you should do it because investing time is pretty much worth it.
But you, that is fine that you explained about the interview process. But what about getting those calls? Like, how did you started getting those calls, and then what was wrong before, and then what was the reason that you were not getting calls? Was it like anything specific?
Okay, so when what the thing that I noticed was that so in my experience, like working on your resume is like a pretty painful process. Like we are not used to modifying our resumes and trying the new approaches. So what I used to do, the mistake I had done most of the part was I used to apply with the same resume, and in ultimately I've realized that it is quality over quantity. So even if like you apply to just one job a day, just make sure that you take out the time to write your CV, write your cover letter, and it matches with the job requirements. Like even so I can give an example. So like I had done a lot of work in, like, let's say video calling and voice calling apps, and I used to portray it in my CVs. But a lot of the companies, for them, they did not have a product which would, which would
Yeah.
suit that requirement, and just
Yes.
bragging about it in the resume would not help me.
Yeah.
So I ultimately, like, I realized that it is very important to have a curated CV for every job application.
So what was your first reaction when you saw that offer, you saw that confirmation email that okay, we want to hire you? What was your feeling and what was your reaction?
Well, it's very difficult to explain that because you should look at where I was coming from. So, like, in whole year, I applied and I did not get any call, and then suddenly I had a job offer, and like I was basically like moving to Netherlands. So, but there was a very funny incident that on Friday the I was supposed to get the feedback, and whole week I was like anticipating like how did the interview go. And then on Friday, like the recruiter said that due to some problem, like he would come back to me on Monday. And you can imagine how much anticipation game went on for the whole week. But
Yeah, yeah.
I pretty much knew that I did it very well. But what I have seen is that sometimes there are a lot of factors which are not in
Yes.
your control. The position might get closed. Maybe they might get someone better than you. So those are the factors that also realize, and also the luck is pretty much a major one. So
Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
very confident that I gave like my best, but like ultimately getting the confirmation, I I was anticipating a lot. So yeah.
Yeah. So you at the end, so you went into the anxiety mode. Let's put it in that way,
Yeah,
because
yeah. I was very
yeah,
much anxious
yeah,
before.
because this happens. Yeah, this happens a lot when guys come back to me. Okay, I had the interview, and then I was supposed to get the feedback in 2 days, 4 days, and then they don't hear back. But you don't know what's going there on the other side. It could be any reason, not just that. Okay, someone else is also interviewing. There could be any reason. The person might be sick. He's on like he couldn't come to office, or anything came up. Anything urgent came up. So it could be anything. So you are right there. So can you give us the salary range in your profile, being 5 to 6 years of experience? What kind of salary people can expect, and also salary range of similar profiles, if you know, in the same experience level?
Okay, so salary range is a very subjective topic, and what I have seen for the most of the companies, it lies between 50,000 US dollars, 50,000 euros to 75 or 80. But it would also depend on the company you are interviewing for, the position, the interview experience, the years of experience what they are demanding, and a lot of times it's also governed by the budget for that position. So
Okay.
50 to 80 is a very safe range, and there are some companies which pay much higher than that in Netherlands, but like there would be some outliers, and the
Yeah.
average would be like under 80, I would say.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. And what about the other profiles, if you know by chance?
Yeah, so like I work in the mobile development. Like I know people from the back end development, they tend to have the same salaries ranges. Like there is not much difference in back end or a front end developers. Like front end developers, back end, mobile developers, they tend to usually have a same in the.
Got it. Got
The
it.
other factors which governs is that your performance in the interview. So because they usually have a range in the budget, so if you have done well, then you get the higher end of it. But if you have done not so well, so you will be in somewhere in the middle. So
Definitely, definitely. So before we move further into the process of like how does process goes like in the visa application coming here, so maybe you can give any recommendation to the guys who are watching the video in terms of regarding their job search process.
yeah, so what I would say, that one of the most important advice is that to be patient, because I think job search is going to test the patience hell out of you. I
Yes.
know, I know a lot of people who usually get jobs like in just 2 3 months, and I also know people like who have been searching for more than a year, they have not got it. So
Yes.
patience is something like you should have, and understand that this is a long process, that this can take time. And also like being flexible is one of the most important skill that you can have at this moment, because like for my example, I was for the pretty much most of the journey, I was just focused on one of the country, but changing my mindset and then applying to other countries, like it helped me and it opened my options. So yeah, being flexible, and let's say being flexible in that sense as well, when your something in your CV does not works, so then be ready to just discard it out and work on a new CV like from a start scratch. You should be ready to do that, and in your job search journey you are pretty much going to do that like after like every some weeks or every some months. So having an open mind is very important to that, and working on the feedback. Like when you would interview, you would realize there's a lot of weak points like which you need to improve on, and making sure that you work on them is very important. And never apply with the same CV for every job profile. It is
Yes. Yes.
a
Yeah.
factor.
Yeah. So overall, you have mentioned 3 points: try and test what works, keep using; what doesn't work, discard. Second, you mentioned, which I always say, don't keep all your eggs in one basket, because then you never know. And the last thing you mentioned, that take the feedback and adapt according to the feedback. So that's very, very important to crack the interview specifically. So yeah, before we really go into the Netherlands visa process and all things, maybe you give us a little overview about the lifestyle in Netherlands.
Well, life in Netherlands is pretty good, and people are very nice, very helpful to talk to, and like speaking language is not something that you would have a problem with, because like everyone in Amsterdam speak English, so you would not really have a problem with the language. And The public transport is very much very well integrated, very good, and like the work-life balance aspect is also very good here, and people usually tend to focus on that. And what I have seen is that people usually have a different life after their, like after 5 p.m. after their work, because they have, like, people invest a lot of time in their hobbies, there's some activities. So after work life, they have a different life, which I did not notice when I was in India. So that is something that we should learn from that.
Okay, perfect. That's definitely good. That okay, work life balance is there. So definitely people, it's like definitely for professionals who are looking for a job. So it's not necessary they just go to Germany or maybe UK or any other country. So they can consider Netherlands as well. Looking at your perspective. So just tell us about the processes regarding the visa application after you got the offer. So how was your visa application experience in India when you applied for the visa? Like you got the visa and then you moved here, and then how were the processes here to settle in, to get your visa extended here after coming? So the overall complete process, but at a very high level in respect of time. Yeah.
Okay. So the process is pretty much straightforward. So after you get the offer letter, your employer is supposed to file your application to the IND. So IND is basically the department which handles immigration and naturalization. So you can expect, like, in at least in around 2 weeks you would get the response, and after 2 weeks you can just book an appointment with the embassy and for the MVV, employment category, and just you can go to the interview and just submit your documents, and like in 2-3 days you would get the visa stamped on your, like, passport, and you're free to go. And
Just to, I want to stop you here for a second. So when you say MVV, it's a entry visa, right?
yeah, MVV is a short-term visa, and initially it is valid for 3 months. And
Perfect.
after you come to Netherlands, and you are required to extend it, like, and it gets extended to like 5 years after
Perfect.
your appointment with the municipality. So after you come here, so first of all, the thing which you'll have to follow is the quarantine, of course, like because of the COVID. After your quarantine, you can have an appointment with the municipality. So because initially you would not have a permanent address, so you can, what I did was I registered at my employer's address, and I was allowed to be registered there for 3 months. And I got the BSN number, which is the tax number, like, for that. And then I had the bank appointment on the pretty much same day. And then you can apply for the DGD. So DGD is like a authentication and authorization platform. It's like where on every of the government portals you can just use the DGD and it would verify anywhere. So that
So,
is also very important to get the DGD.
so
But
basically,
it does not take long.
okay. So DGD is more like a online identity. Let's put
Yeah,
it in that way.
it's like an
Yes.
online, it's a centralized online identity. Every of the government platform, they can take the DGD to authorize.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say somebody gets the offer, gets the visa, gets the MVV visa, comes here, lands here. So now he has to start his extension process, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then there are a lot of other processes involved. Taxes are there, health, registering for health insurance, pension is there. So what is the most important thing that person must be careful about in all that stuff?
So I think I'll try to answer with respect to Amsterdam and Netherlands. So one of the most important thing that you need to look forward to is the housing search, because of the housing shortage in Amsterdam. I think most of the people they find it very difficult to find a house, and it would be pretty much like hectic. So keeping sure that you are fine on the housing search is important. And apart from that, once you have the tax number, then you can apply for like all other stuff like the health insurance. And then also, when you get the health insurance, it is also essential to register with a GP, the general practitioner, which is like a family doctor. So in case
Mhm.
of any health issues, you are supposed to go to the GP first, and then he'll write those prescriptions for you. Because if you'll go to the pharmacy directly, like without the approval of the GP, you would not give the medicines. So
Okay. So that's overall recommendation the people must follow as a general
Yeah.
perspective when they are settling in.
Yeah.
Okay. So mm, so yeah, there has been a talk about, okay, there is a blue card, there is a highly skilled migrant visa. So what are the differences in both of them? Right. So in terms of Netherlands, blue card is something which is a EU wide term, but how does highly skilled migrant visa relate with blue card in Netherlands?
Okay, so blue card, like you mentioned, is like EU wide, and it allows you to work freely in all the EU states. And one of the major advantage of EU blue card is that you can accumulate the periods of stay. So,
Yes, to some extent, yes. To
to
some
some
extent,
extent,
yes.
and
Yes.
at the time when you apply for the PR in that country, you have to be like at least 2 years in that country.
Yeah.
What highly skilled migrant visa is does is that it expedites the process. So earlier the process used to be that employers, they were required to first find someone in the local market, and then when they cannot find someone, then they'll look internationally. So because there's a step involved that you have to provide documentation that you were unable to find someone in Netherlands and that is why you are hiring. The process usually takes some time, but if your employer is registered as a sponsor with the authorities, then they can skip this whole process and they can directly hire someone who falls in the shortage occupation list, and the process would be pretty much straightforward and very quick. So like in 3 weeks they can get someone in Netherlands. But there are also some rules that highly skilled migrant visa is only applicable to someone who has not been in Netherlands, like who has been migrating from Netherlands, and in they have been living around like 150 kilometers away from the Netherlands border. So let's say if you are in Germany or Luxembourg or Belgium, and if you live within 150 kilometers of border, like for the past 12 months, then you would not be eligible for highly skilled migrant visa. And
Okay.
other requirements are in the salary requirement. So EU blue card tend to have a higher salary requirement, which is like around 5,400 euros per month. But for the HSM, the salary requirements are pretty much relaxed. So if you are under 30, it is around 3,300, and if you are above 30 years of age, then it is around 4,800 euros per month. So this gives the employers and the employee the flexibility, because otherwise, if you are not hiring from a highly skilled migrant visa, then employer is supposed to raise the salary to the blue card level, which is like around 62,000 or something. So that can be tricky.
Okay. So just to understand what you have all explained. So you said 3 weeks time for HSM, and this is applicable only in case of for the sponsored employers who are authorized to hire from abroad, right?
Yes.
And like you said, the process can be very much longer. It is you are talking in that sense, okay, those employers who are not authorized to hire directly from outside Netherlands, so they can still hire, but then they have to go through the approval process through the employment agency, and then city office, like you said, municipal city office, and then yeah, they can still hire. So in that case, one thing interesting I found is that, so applicants who are applying for the visa through blue card, they don't need the sponsorship letter from the employer, right?
Yeah.
And then even I already published a video on that. Even I read at many times that blue card visa process can last up to 3 months, right? And for HSM, you already mentioned, okay, it's 3 weeks. So that's guys who are watching the video, you can differentiate what is your priority, and then you can figure out you want to go for blue card or you want to go for HSM. So but then choice is not yours, you have to see.
Yeah.
And regarding another point, you mentioned that you have to be outside Netherlands, further than living further than 150 kilometers, right?
Yeah.
So on top of that, I believe you must be a non-EU citizen as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
You will
so
have
because
to-
if you are a EU citizen, the HSM will not be
does
applied to
not
you.
apply does not apply to you. So you have to be a non-EU citizen. Yes.
Yes. So yeah, just so that's for those to notice who are basically watching the video. So you must be non-EU citizen if you want to apply for HSM or blue card. Okay, tell us about the taxes here in Netherlands, where like how the taxes are calculated and applied. So yeah, basically.
So what I have seen is that taxes basically they fall in the two brackets. One is around like for six up to 60,000, it is like 37%, and the other tax bracket is more than that. For it is like 49%. But if you are being hired as a highly skilled migrant, so there is one advantage which you get is called 30% ruling. So
Mm-hmm.
which enables you to basically the 30% of your incomes is not taxed. So whatever the tax you pay is around like on just on the 70% of your income. So that is a tax benefit which you get if you are on a highly skilled migrant visa. And if you have your partner or your spouse, then you can bring them and they are also eligible for highly that 30% ruling as well.
So yeah, so let's say somebody moves to Netherlands with a job offer, let's say on 1st of November or 1st of October. So how much time person can expect in terms of settling down? It could be 2 months or 3 months. What do you suggest? Like finishing up all the processes, visa, health insurance, taxes, or some other stuff. So what could be the duration?
I think that you can even get settled like within 1 month if you are lucky with the housing search. So how because housing search, getting the permanent house, it governs a lot of things. Because when you have a permanent address, then you will have to get the city registration updated, and also then you'll have to use that address in the. Then only you can find for GP, because by the law you are required to find a GP which is like some kilometer, like some close proximity to your address. So that is why
Okay. Okay.
housing is one of the most factors that affects everything. So if you get it done fast, then you can expect like a 1 month or so. But usually in the housing search, I have seen people at least take a month, and like it can take up to half month and a half to two if you were unlucky. Because
Okay. Mm-hmm.
it would also depend where you want to live, what are your preferences, and what are the areas that you are targeting. Because Amsterdam essentially is a landlocked cities, so there is not much housing available. And if and
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to live in the city center, so you can expect the competition.
Okay. Yeah, definitely in the big cities, that is always the case. For example, Munich is the same situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to understand, so basically, you get the permanent address, then you register for your address, and then you go to GP, you apply for health insurance, and in the meanwhile, in parallel, you can continue your visa stuff, and that will also take like 2 months, 1 month, or like how much time this visa extension stuff, like you said earlier, you get the HSM for 3 months, sorry, 3 years or 5 years. So how much long does it take the whole getting the HSM extension?
Okay. So, like in my case, there was a company which was handling the legal stuff. So, like just after coming into Netherlands, I just have to go to the municipality. And when you arrive in Netherlands, they file for 30% ruling. So
Mm-hmm.
your visa get extended at the municipality appointment only, but just your 30% ruling would not be effective, and it takes a maximum of 90 days to get the 30% ruling done, like to get the response from the IND. And after you get the response from the IND, like it is applied retroactively on your salary.
Okay. So that means first 3 months you will not be getting these 30% non-taxable benefits, but afterwards you will get those benefits.
Yeah. So as soon as the approval comes from the IND, so your company would apply those retroactively, and you would get the difference
Okay.
like in the next month's salary. So
So okay. So tax will be lesser in for next few months until it is settled retroactively, like you said. Yeah.
yeah. It will be much
Okay.
lesser.
Perfect. And IND is responsible for that for 30% ruling.
IND is responsible for that. So
Yes.
your
Yes.
your employer can do the paperwork, but they can only submit for the 30% when you arrive on Netherlands. So
Okay.
that you will have to, the day you arrive in Netherlands, then they will file it, and maximum it takes is 90 days.
Okay. So just for those who are wondering, what is IND? It's a Immigration and Naturalization Department in Netherlands. So yeah. Okay. So now you are living here for almost like 4 to 5 months. So what is your recommendation if somebody wants to come abroad, wants to come to Netherlands? So what would be your recommendation in your personal opinion?
I would say, like, if you are planning, so first, like I mentioned, that being flexible would definitely help, and be ready for a cultural shock. One of the things that is also essential is that you be clear why do you want to come to Netherlands. So, like, if it is because of the 30% ruling, if it's a short-term goal, then because be ready by the time you get settled here, then your tax benefit would be gone after 5 years. Like, it would be like 49% taxes. So, like, you should be ready about the goal which you have in mind. So if it is like from the settlement perspective, then yes, then Netherlands is a very good opportunity to settle, because what I know is that after 5 years you have the chance to choose whether you want to apply for a permanent residency or citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something like, it helps. So you can directly apply for the citizenship as well, but you'll have some Dutch exams and citizenship integration exams. But like after 5 years you are eligible to become a citizen, like you can get a passport, or you can just get the permanent residency and then move to Europe. If you want to move to Europe in some other country, that is possible.
Okay. So overall, the point is that it's not only about money,
Yeah,
right? So somebody, let's say, money benefits you will get for first 5 years, and then you will have to pay those standard tax rates. So if you want to come for lifestyle, that you are suggesting, okay, definitely you can 100% consider that. And earlier we were discussing, you were also talking about weather. Maybe you can also elaborate on that.
yeah, so weather is something which you will have to get used to it, because like coming from a warm climate like India, you will definitely be shocked by the weather, like the cold weather and the winds, especially like those chilly winds which will literally shake your bone. And so overall weather is cold and windy here, so something
Yeah,
that
yeah.
good. And Dutch food, like how do I put it, is saying bland would be an understatement, because like somebody from India, they would not definitely like it. So
So
food
yeah,
would also,
half cooked, cold food, you
yeah,
can say.
cold food is something they like to eat, and which is not we are not used to. So
Yeah.
it would be a challenge. Like I said, it would be a cultural shock in many of the.
Yeah.
Other part is that Dutch people are very much used to physical activities. Like, if you know that Amsterdam is known to be the Dutch capital, cycling capital of the world. So everyone like prefers to have a cycle and travel around here. So, and the cycling lanes, what you would find is that Dutch people, like, they usually ride fast, and you that might scare you. So get it ready for it.
Yeah. That's also applicable here in Germany. So it's difficult to ride as fast as like Germans are riding.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. Yeah. And
I think I can also mention on the rain part. So, like, I can say that apart from the windy, like, you can expect a lot of rain. So, why it is a challenge? Because in India, we are usually used to enjoy the rains from inside, right? So we don't go out. But in Netherlands, the life does not stop. So if people are working out, they are going out, and it rains, they don't stop. They will be in the
yes.
rain, and they are used to it. But here, like, it would be a challenge to go
Yes.
out, to work out in the rain. So get used to
Yeah,
first.
yeah, 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 yeah. I think that is something more general point all over Europe, because I have been to London. I'm living in Germany. We are
Mhm.
talking about Amsterdam, Netherlands. So life doesn't stop. Weather doesn't matter. You have to go in winters. You wear the like winter jackets, and then you have in when it's raining, you have umbrellas or maybe like raincoats or whatsoever. But yes, that's a very valid point. So weather is a totally different thing and unpredictable. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you will observe that more in Netherlands than in anywhere, because they usually have a saying that they said that you are not made up of sugar. So if you go out in the rain, that you are not going to melt.
Yes.
And rain is something that they have got accustomed to, like from their childhood. So yeah.
So basically, these were the things I wanted to discuss with you. So that is so wonderful. You have explained it very well. Thanks for coming on the channel. And yeah, basically, this is it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sandeep, for inviting me here. And it was definitely a different experience, because last time I remember I was watching your videos, and then now I'm just coming on the channel and helping the people who are in the job search. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm sure. So for the closing statement, I would like to say that be patient, and if you are motivated enough, then you will definitely get it. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. Thanks again.